The Karate Kid franchise, no doubt one of the staples of the 80s. Even now you still hear people saying quotes like sweep the leg, way of the fist, and all sorts of stuff like that. Although the franchise came out way before my time, I decided to take a look into it in late 2019 and instantly became a fan. And it makes me really happy that the franchise has continued with the successful TV series Cobra Kai, which is now on Netflix and just about to have its season 4. When I immediately talk about the franchise to people I know, the initial consensus that everyone says is, the first one's really good, the second one is the best one, and the third one they don't like so much. So when I went to take a look at it myself, I decided to watch the original 3. And when I got to the third one, I could see where people dropped off, but at the same time I was thinking, well, I don't think this is too bad. There's a lot of stuff I think they did good on it. And I think the message of it was really strong. I don't think it should have been discarded entirely. With Cobra Kai Season 4 returning Terry Silver as a character, I thought it'd be good to take a look back at the original 3 and see if they hold up down to this day. And when I keep taking a look at the third one, so much stuff about it that actually people take for granted or don't even know how well it was done. And I will go on to say that it is the one that really ends the original trilogy. Yes, we're discarding the next Karate Kid. That one doesn't exist in my book. So basically, I put together this video just getting my opinion about what I think about Karate Kid Part 3, and hopefully you'll be able to take a look and understand why I love this movie so much, and why I think it's very underrated. And hopefully this will be like a small gift for you guys in preparation for Cobra Kai Season 4, because like you, I'm looking forward to Season 4. So how about we get started? The film opens, of course, with the Columbia logo and opens with a montage, of course, showing highlights from the first 3 movies. I like this montage, not only because it highlights the first 3 movies and wrapping it up, but also because it's sort of like a nice tribute to Pat Morita, and of course shows how far Daniel and Miyagi's friendship has come so far in this franchise. After that amazing montage, we cut to John Kreese in modern day 1985. Kreese is broke after Johnny Lawrence and the other Cobra Kais left, and he needs money in order to keep the dojo open. Kreese then decides to visit his old friend Terry Silver for selling the dojo to him officially and retiring out of the karate business. Common fact, Terry Silver's character was written into the script because, of course, the one playing Kreese, Martin Kove, couldn't commit to the film fully. Sometimes when I think about that, I think it would be like if Kreese was actually in Terry Silver's place throughout the whole movie, how much it would have changed on the script. Just something to think about. Terry Silver, after learning about how his friend was hurt, offered to take up revenge against Daniel Miyagi for hurting him in the tournament.
Kid, I'm gonna get them for what they did to you. They made you suffer. So I'm gonna make them suffer, and suffer, and suffer, and when I think they've suffered enough, then I start with the pain.
Look, Terry, you don't have to do that.
Don't have to. I want to. It's not over. We're Cobra Kai. Come on, say it. Cobra Kai. Say it. Cobra Kai.
Never dies.
Try to be best, cause you're Cobra Kai, and Cobra Kai has a burn to take it. I make no promises that that's my last musical number. We then go back to our 2 main characters who have just come back from Okinawa from the previous movie, Karate Kid Part 2. Mr. Miyagi is eager to go back to work after a much needed vacation that they had in Part 2.
Los Angeles, crank it up.
I'm going to say it also, one of the things I love about this movie is the scenery and the music. Like this one song, Summer in the City by the Pointer Sisters, always gets me. Just listen to it a bit and you'll hear what I'm talking about.
Yep, but that's life, I guess. I'll survive.
You'll do more than just survive. I gotta go.
Uncle Louie is an underrated character and totally needs his own spin-off movie. Of course, now that the building is being sold, which means Mr. Miyagi loses his job. This, for me, is one of the highlights of the movie also, because it shows that it's the end of an era, even more hinting that this was supposed to be the third and final movie. Daniel decides to help out Miyagi, while Terry and, of course, John Kreese scheme in the meantime.
I'll be working full-time on this from now on. Full-time.
Very good, sir.
No. It's too nice. I gotta look poor.
Now, this is one of the largest complaints I get about the movie, of how he's so eager to just abandon his toxic waste business and go help out his friend. But here's how I understand it and understand the scene. Terry Silver said earlier,
Johnny, every business has a slump at one time or another. Look at this. 10 years ago, nuclear was the preferred waste. You could dump it anywhere. Now everybody's a detective. I'm lucky if I make one deal a year without being indicted.
So being that the Cobra Kai dojo is still his side business and still a profitable venture and more safe than his toxic disposal business and possibly can't get him arrested immediately after making a deal, it makes sense for him to focus a bit more on that in order to help out his friend at the same time keep his profits in check.
Karate's bad boy. Mike Barnes. Perfect.
I love the way Terry Silver says perfect during this scene in line with the music. The music makes you think like, oh no. Listen to it again, you'll see.
Perfect.
As Daniel and Miyagi prepare to open their bonsai shop, Terry Silver finally was able to recruit Mike Barnes.
Mr. Silva? Well, you must be Mike Barnes. Welcome to LA.
Oh, hey, listen, thank you for bringing me down, Mr. Silver.
Milos, call the boys.
This place is intense.
Consider it home.
Thanks.
Snake, Dennis, Mike Barnes. Dennis will take care of your training. Snake takes care of everything else. You're looking to be a bad boy in LA. Snake's the boy to be bad with. Right, Snake?
You know it.
No lie, a large part of me wants Dennis and Snake to return on Cobra Kai, just to see how they've been doing and what they've been up to these past few years.
Inside you, same place you karate come from.
But my karate comes from you.
Only root karate come from Miyagi. Just like bonsai, choose one way grow because root strong. You choose one way do karate, same reason.
Yeah, but I do it your way.
Hey, one day you do one way.
Miyagi subtly mentions the message of this movie, and I really hope you've got it so far because we're going to review it at the end of this video. Once again, you gotta admire the beautiful scenery in this movie. It's definitely not Okinawa, but looks amazing.
Should seriously reconsider this, right?
Wrong.
Wrong.
Should consider get new pot for bonsai.
You know, I don't know what the big deal is. I mean, what is your problem with this?
Here's another thing I thought about that confuses many people. Many people are wondering why Daniel would want to compete in a tournament again after the first one. Well, here's the explanation that I see. If you recall in the second one, Daniel didn't exactly agree to retire from doing the tournament. It was Miyagi's choice if you look at the beginning of the second one. So it only makes sense that he would probably want to do it again and seeing how he's the reigning champ.
Hello?
Oh, hi. Could you turn that off?
Sure.
Thanks.
We're then introduced to a new character who will become one of Daniel's best friends, Jessica. I really like that they introduced Jessica in this film because, unlike what the critics might say, it's really cool to me because the relationship's platonic. It shows that boys and girls can be just best friends if they want to. Not all of them have to be in romantic relationships. Oh hey, look! Miyagi did finish that guest room for Daniel. I like that Terry Silver insists on doing this snooping work on his own, but man, couldn't you have worn gloves? Your DNA's all over the place. Wow, Terry Silver vanished fast. He's like part ninja.
Bye guys, gotta run. Ninja vanish.
Feet. Never forget that knee to the groin. That was interesting. I'll see you later, Mr.
But Santa Claus, he is not. Oh, Merry Christmas. Oh no, Santa's got a husband. Who is you such an unjolly thing?
No retirement means such a hard work. You like see inside shop?
Yeah, I'd love to.
Partner show you around. Don't forget that cup there,
No, I won't.
Good night. Nice to meet you.
Good night. Nice to meet you, too.
Yeah, I'll see you later, Mr. Miyagi.
Bye-bye.
I really hope they find a way for Robin Lively, the one who plays Jessica, to return in Cobra Kai. I would love to see if her and Daniel kept in touch all of these years.
Room for one One more down there?
Wait, Snake, why did you turn off the lights? Are you a vampire, not a snake?
Have to excuse him. He's usually a very mellow guy. I don't know. Later.
Oh wait, now you want us to believe you're the civilized one?
Hey. My name is Terry Silver. My master is Kim Sung-young of South Korea. My teacher sends his respects.
Now, for those who watch Cobra Kai and seen Terry Silver's and John Kreese's origin story, they can tell by watching this scene that Terry Silver is lying completely. Even more reason why this movie can't be discarded completely.
I figured, it'd be a nice going away present, so.
Oh, Daniel, that is so sweet.
Yeah, well. Hey.
Snake will clear his eyebrows when he comes to the door. And why did he shut off the lights again?
Nice kick. Not bad. Better. Good, but not good enough.
Here's another large complaint I can hear that people say about the movie. They always say after the first two, Daniel should be able to fight people better. But the way I see it, each of the Karate Kid villains had their own style of fighting, with each of a different challenge Daniel had to overcome. For example, Johnny Lawrence was skill, Chosen was technique, and Mike Barnes is power and rage. Mr. Miyagi, the singing troll. I totally do this all the time when I don't want to answer a question. This is one of the greatest parts of the movie. And this is something very subtle, but it makes the scene even more funny. Did anyone notice that he looked at the camera right before he tried to answer Daniel's question?
I mean, if they come back, what are we gonna do? Just tell me, what do we do if they come back?
Oh, Miyagi don't want to answer question. Daniel-san being baby. Oh, just sing Miyagi.
Da 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 da. Sing happy song. Da da.
Please.
Hey, Daniel. Make a wish.
You know, no matter what crap the internet says about Daniel and Johnny being villains, we can all agree on one thing. Mike Barnes was a true villain.
Daniel-san, Miyagi always train you. But for tournament, cannot.
Could not.
I love how the train bells on cue once Miyagi gives Daniel the sad news that he's not going to train him. That's like a subtle reference that the creators knew that they put in that probably hardly anyone would get.
But for tournament, cannot.
Could not.
Come on, stand up. Let me show you a couple of moves. Help you deal with punks like that. Make a strong stance. Back leg up a little more. Okay.
After seeing this scene, it makes me realize even more that I want a fight scene of Daniel versus Terry Silver in Cobra Kai now that Daniel's grown up. The battle of the businessmen! Of course, Daniel takes Terry Silver's ideas to Miyagi and hoping that Miyagi will at least teach him one small lesson.
Would you mind showing me how? I mean, I'm not asking you to train me. I don't want you to train me. Just this one thing. Just this one thing. I'd be so appreciative. All you have to give me is this one thing. That's it. That's it. Please. Please, please, please. You gotta do it. Ma'am?
Daniel-san, you hold like this. First, left.
It's no joke, all right? You don't want to show me. You don't show me.
Hey, Daniel, get back here. He was probably still teaching you karate. Sweep on, sweep off. Then again, he probably wasn't. That sounds like the terrible kung fu / karate moves they did in the reboot movie. This may be something subtle, and probably I've only noticed it, but did you notice the parallel from when Daniel meets Terry Silver inside the dojo from when he first met Miyagi? He both walks in on two guys doing something that he doesn't understand at the time. I'm just saying to notice that, actually. It really makes the whole message of the movie stand out even more.
You ready to move on? From training for situations just like this. It comes in 2 parts and has 3 rules. I call it Quicksilver.
That's good.
You like that, huh?
Here's another thing I hear people complaining about when it comes to the movie. They complain that the Quicksilver method really is no method at all, and it's just really just a set of Daniel just punching the dummy. But if you recall what Terry Silver said earlier,
He'll be begging me to be his teacher. And you know what he's gonna learn from me? Pain in every part of his body and fear in every part of his mind.
But Cobra Kai Season 4 can correct me on this later on, but the way I see it was a set of methods that was supposed to injure Daniel and make him feel like he was going to beat Mike Barnes, only to fail later on.
Soon, Daniel-san. Miyagi heart empty without you.
I like Mr. Miyagi's prayer scene. It's a subtle scene that anyone can relate to. You know, whether they're praying for someone to back to health, someone to come back into their life, or someone to make the right decisions. It's amazing how much we take these little scenes for granted. So Daniel continues with Terry Silver in the Cobra Kai training, but it just makes him more angry and defensive against everyone because he's at the same time he's getting injured and he feels like he'll never be able to win the tournament. And of course, leads just to the saddest part of the movie.
But I got problems, okay? And if you're not gonna be part of the solution, just don't give me a hard time about it, all right? Okay, you got it?
Miyagi crying, without a doubt, is very heartbreaking in my mind and is hard to watch. But at the same time, it also shows how smart Terry Silver was. He would have had to know that Daniel would lash out at Miyagi like that. Like he said earlier, he'd hurt Miyagi through Daniel. It also shows how evil Terry Silver is in this manner and how dangerous Cobra Kai karate can be. The music that plays as it transitions to Daniel and the Cobra Kai dojo is like a subtle Cobra Kai theme for Daniel. It's heartbreaking at the same time interesting to listen to. Glenn Medeiros' High Wire song is super epic. I've listened to it over 1,000 times and it never gets old. One of the best parts of the movie. Also, I love the guy bobbing his head from down on the seal to the music. Take a look at it again.
I'm taking her home.
Now, what is wrong with you? What are you, nuts?
Danny, come on, we gotta get out of here. Come on, it was beautiful. You didn't even think. Something got in your way, bang, down it went.
Here's another thing that people don't get also. They wondered why Terry Silver acted this way around Daniel. Well, if he acted more like Miyagi, he probably would have turned Daniel away. He probably would have listened to him. If Terry Silver in this situation acted more like Daniel himself, Daniel would have probably gone towards him, which he did in the movie. So essentially, he was just trying to be someone that Daniel could relate to and go to.
What do you want?
Can I talk to you?
I'm busy.
Come on, just give me a minute. Come on, please.
Did anybody watching this first notice that the radio is playing the movie's theme song, Listen to Your Heart? As if the movie is talking to Daniel. But the cool thing is, it's not the first time this happened in the franchise. In the first movie, the moment of truth played briefly when Daniel figured out that his bike was fixed by Miyagi. In the second film, it played briefly on the radio before Daniel went with Kamiko on his date, then when they were running towards the castle afterward. It's just one of the things I love about the franchise in whole, that they always put the music at appropriate times.
Hey, it's budding. Hey, look at that. It's gonna make it, huh?
Hey, make it because have strong root. Just like you, Daniel-san. Inside you have strong root. No need nothing except what inside you to grow. Understand?
Miyagi always gives great words of wisdom, and he just conveyed the message of the movie again.
You like Miyagi? Come help you.
No, Mr. Miyagi, I did it myself. I'll get out of it myself, all right? I'll just be back in a little while.
Mr. Miyagi can tell something's not right. Did anyone notice the music and the lighting when Daniel enters the Cobra Kai dojo? It's like a horror movie. Reason why is because it's like the monsters are about to come out and reveal themselves.
Agenda here, Daniel. It's It's really very simple.
You guys are crazy.
Either you fight one fight on one day, or you fight every day for the
You guys
rest of
sick.
your life. You see his face? See the trail? I think he peed in his pants.
Actually, I think Mike Barnes is the one that peed in his pants. Also, Miyagi never knocks!
Party time.
We're old friends.
Try to be best, cause you're only a crease, and a crease has to learn to take it. Okay, haters. Even you have to admit that this scene is super epic. This is Miyagi single-handedly taking on two guys and kicking their butts so easily. And this is the only time we'll ever see Miyagi and Kreese actually fight in the franchise, because inside the parking lot technically wasn't a fight, seeing how Miyagi just dodged. But look at this scene. Please tell me you don't think the movie is terribly horrible because it has this epic scene. I mean, just look at it. This is amazing. Miyagi mocking him. That's just him getting payback for what he did to Daniel and to him. Also, Miyagi does hate fighting, but Kreese and Silver crossed the line here, so he had to kick their butts. You're the worst. We know. Everyone's gonna be your foe. You're the worst. We know. Miyagi now agrees to train Daniel because he sees how big of a threat that Kreese and Silver are together. And now we have a true battle of good versus evil. Unlike the controversial first one, this is truly good versus evil. Another reason why I really like this movie. So if Daniel or Miyagi wins, they can stop Terry Silver from converting all the kids in the valley into Cobra Kai fanatics. Just one of the reasons why I see this as the greatest battle in the history of the Karate Kid franchise.
Think this is the end of it all, man? I'm gonna open Cobra Kai dojos all over this valley. Hell, I might even teach for free. From now on, when people say karate around here, all they'll mean is Cobra Kai karate. John Kreese's karate. You won't even be a memory.
Also, Silver's rant here is also the reason why I don't support Cobra Kai karate down to this day. This training montage is amazing. It also reminds us that it's the end of an era, and the scenery as well is super cool.
This bonsai have strong root. Same you. This tree now choose how it to grow. So must you choose how you grow.
We miss you, Pat Morita. We always will. And now we finally got here, the final tournament scene. And I can see what they say by it looks like it's rushed. I mean, look at some of Terry Silver's dialogue. Looks like it's out of place.
1-0.
Look over at the slope. Is that perfect?
He'll get up. He's too dumb not to. This is beautiful. It's beautiful. Fight it.
But that doesn't mean the scene is altogether bad. I think they did a pretty good job on it. I think it's also cool that the officials noticed Terry Silver being entertained by Daniel getting beat up, as they mentioned later on the series Cobra Kai.
It's over. Forget about it.
No.
I'm afraid. Let's get out of here.
You're not, must not. It's okay, lose to opponent. Must not lose to fear.
Yo, I'm afraid. I'm afraid of him, all right?
A lot of people on the internet always ask, well, why was Daniel more afraid of Mike Barnes than Chosen when he was fighting to Chosen to the death on the second Karate Kid? Well, I can explain that also. You see, throughout the second movie, Daniel never took Chosen seriously. He always just viewed him as a bully who was immature. So when it finally came down to their showdown, Daniel wasn't that afraid of beating him because he had never lost a fight to him much earlier. Essentially before they never had an all-out fight throughout the second movie. With Mike Barnes, it was different. There were several instances how they instigated fear inside Daniel throughout the whole movie. The first instance when Mike beat Daniel inside Mr. Miyagi's little tree shop. The second instance where Mike was either going to let Daniel drown or fall to his death out on the cliff. It was also frightening to Daniel how Mike would all of a sudden know where he is and just show up and then just beat him instantly. Finally, Daniel learning that the friend that just trained him all this time, Terry Silver, was in league with Mike Barnes, and basically has taught him everything, Daniel didn't think he had a chance of beating Mike. All those instances is why Daniel was more afraid of Mike than he was of Chosen.
You stay focused. Tell us your best karate still inside you. Now time let out.
This is the greatest piece of advice Miyagi has ever given. He's basically saying for Daniel to not hold anything back and let everything out in this karate tournament. The way I basically see it is he's basically saying use all the skills you learned from these past 2 movies to beat Mike. I also felt this was Miyagi officially passing the torch. Ah, yes, the music, the hug between them, even though Miyagi didn't want to hug before, shows that Daniel is officially Miyagi's successor and ends the trilogy after they foiled the villain's plans and stopped Cobra Kai for good. So that was Karate Kid Part 3, and no matter how old it gets, I still enjoy it down to this day. Now I'm just going to go over with you why I enjoy it, just to sum it up, and what I believe the message of the movie was, what they were trying to convey. No secret, a lot of people didn't like this movie, and part of me can see why, but I just explained in this video why I still liked it, and it's also disappointing that Ralph Macchio, the one who played Daniel, disliked it as well. But at the same time, Robin Lively said that he was hard to work with and he came to the set complaining. I think he was going through something at the time, but of course, we wouldn't know exactly. There isn't no information on it. John G. Avildsen himself would say that he disliked the movie that he made and would say that it was just a copy of the first one. But as I stated before, I think it was only partly taking a few elements from the first one. Other than that, it's still a very different movie. And no offense to the great John G. Avildsen, but 1 year later he would go on to make Rocky V, which if you've seen my other video, I really disliked that movie. If you look at each of the Karate Kid movies, each of them had a good message that they were conveying. And yes, I mean this one also had a good message that I think was being heard. So we'll start off with the first one's message and then we'll later on get to the third one. The first one was all about a teenager trying to fit in a high school in a different state where he didn't have any friends at the time. And despite him not wanting to be there, he ends up making a really good friend who has an impact on his life tremendously. This friend ends up helping him in all aspects of his life, including his personal life with his relationships, his schoolwork, and even other stuff. So essentially part 1 was teacher to student, but it was also friend to friend. Karate Kid Part 2 was a little different, as in Daniel was going with Miyagi to Okinawa, but at the same time, Daniel was more of the stranger here than Miyagi was because Okinawa was totally foreign to him. On the second one, as the poster shows, it tries to convey the message of father and son. By now, Daniel and Miyagi aren't just friends. It seems like Miyagi's like the father he never had, and Daniel is like his son, which is also explained throughout the movie as well, especially when Daniel tries to comfort Miyagi after Miyagi loses his own father in death. Same could be said for Sato and Chosen. Even though Sato was Chosen's uncle, it seemed like he was like a father to him and actually trained him the wrong way in Miyagi-Do karate. Karate Kid 2 is basically about Miyagi and Daniel finally becoming family members. Karate Kid Part 3 had the strongest message out of all of them, and I believe it's one that should be heard. And if you haven't guessed it so far, then I think you should go back and watch the video again. But I'm about to explain what I think the message was. During a time in a kid's life, when they finally become an adult or a man, they have a choice to make friends with people that could influence their behavior and possibly compromise the morals they were raised with. Karate Kid Part 3 is essentially choosing the right people to associate with and how to handle your responsibilities when you become an adult, which is why I think Karate Kid Part 3 has the strongest message. It's even shown in the poster when it says, first it was teacher to student, then it was father to son, now it's man to man. So besides Ralph Macchio's age in real life when he was filming this movie, if you think of it as Daniel finally becoming a man on part 3 and making adult decisions, then it makes the message of the movie even more powerful and actually makes the movie worth a watch. It's essentially him finally becoming an adult and Miyagi finally passing the torch on to him as the successor of Miyagi-Do karate. Besides the message, we all knew Cobra Kai karate was dangerous, but this shows it at its most dangerous in the franchise. So this movie also furthers Daniel's grudge with Cobra Kai in the Cobra Kai series. I mean, if you have a karate organization that basically did terrible things to you throughout your entire childhood, you would be traumatized too. Because essentially it was like Daniel could never get a break from these guys, like at every corner they were always trying to just get him. So in conclusion, yeah, Karate Kid Part 3 can't be discarded entirely. I do think you should definitely watch it before you watch Cobra Kai Season 4, sort of to get a general consensus of what's going on. Also to remember the good old days of the Karate Kid franchise. Because, of course, it is a clear 80s movie, but it's still enjoyable to watch down to this day. I can't help but enjoy the music, the stunts, and some of the colorful characters. Thank you for watching. Be sure to take a look at my other videos, including my review of Rocky 5. Also, I'm planning on making more videos in this past few years. I've just been very busy with other stuff. But I hope you give this a like, and go ahead and leave a comment down below saying what you thought of this movie. But please keep the comment section respectful. I try and keep this channel for all ages, just in case. Hope to see you soon.